Well, I'm not done, but I've done quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, so I just want to show you how far I've gotten and give you a quick walk around, show you a few surprises, and where's the garden. So this bed last time was covered in New Zealand spinach, random greens over here, my beets were over there, and various bolted lettuces and carrots and whatnot. So I picked all of it. I removed all the dead zucchini, except for this one. I'll show you in a second. And I have a few volunteer carrots here and there. I've picked a few in this corner. I'll show you in a second. And a couple of volunteer tomatoes. And what looks like a strawberry plant, which I have no idea where it came from. But right there, right in the middle, this to me looks like a strawberry plant. So I'm gonna leave it because I'm very curious to see what it is. So as I said, I picked all the beets, and this is what I got. It's by no means anything huge, but it's something, and it took them a whole season to grow this big. So I really got to read on my beet growing. What's the deal? Why are they taking so long? But still, a couple of salads, not too bad. Then here we have oregano, and I keep forgetting what this is, and I believe this is my Brussels sprouts. I am not sure what's going to happen here. I don't see any sprouts, I don't see any Brussels, I don't see anything really that'll do much, but I'll just leave it. I mean, it's fine. A few volunteer carrots over here. And one of the squash plants actually seems to have survived. I believe the vine borer came up, probably did its damage to the main stem over here and kind of left. And now this plant has 3 side stems that seem to be living, and it's at the male flower stage. I'm very surprised that this is able to sustain these side plants, but I'll leave it. I probably won't have much sun here in a couple of weeks, but let's see what happens. If he wants to live, who am I to deny that? And some bolting basil over here, which is pretty much gone. We're picking leaves here and there for salads, but yeah, this guy's gone. Bunch of volunteer carrots, and as I was pulling random stuff from over here, I saw something that looked like a turnip, and when I pulled it, check this out. It ended up being a carrot. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one, and I pulled a few more just random carrots from the bed behind me, where all the Egyptian walking onions are. And speaking of Egyptian walking onions, I finally cleaned up the area here and cut all the big old stems with the sets on top. I haven't planted any. These are just the ones that I've planted before that, and these are the old plants where they have the bulbs underneath sending new greens, and that's why I really love these plants. Let me show you what it looks like underneath one of the old plants. So this is my biggest plant that I had, and this is the piece basically that comes up and has, let's see which one it is. It's one of the big ones, and of course I can't find, this one. I think it was this one. Has a big bulbous thing on top of it with a whole bunch of new plants. And the old thing doesn't die. No, it splits and forms new ones. So 3 new plants are going to come out of here. And as you can see, these are all the seeds that I have for new growth. I mean, that's probably 100 seeds in here, at least. And I have plenty growing already, as you can tell. All the ones that I've cut have sent at least 1 new plant coming to the side, and some are sending more. This is where I cut it, and this is one that has dropped and sort of seeded itself. I hear more coming up from the old plants, so pretty good so far. Egyptian walking onions, one of my best crops, to be honest, because we eat salad so much, we put onions in them a lot, and these green onions are just great. A few more volunteer carrots. I picked a few of the volunteers from here. If you remember, this is where last year I had planted my carrots. And I have my chives finally coming up. I'm hoping by next year, probably end of next year, they'll fill this area nicely. So this will be my chive area. And I have my lime thyme, which is just going crazy. This thing was probably a little bundle like this when I planted it, and now it's doing great. I'll let it do its thing. I'll probably let it overtake like this whole section. I just have to be careful with my chives because it seems to be coming this way. And I'll probably plant more Egyptian walking onions up to here and let this come this way. And on its left, I have two basils that are also going to seed. I've been pinching them, but we don't really eat that much basil. And a single tomato plant with 4 beautiful tomatoes on them. The strawberry, pepper, volunteer tomato, cucumber, cucamelon bed. You can see how many strawberries I have already, just from, 4 that I planted here at the beginning of the season. And they're doing great. Peppers, I did pick a few peppers. This particular one over here is my favorite. It's not a spicy pepper, but it's a long, thin pepper, sweet pepper, and it's great for salads. I think I mentioned it last time, but I'm going to be dedicating this bed to strawberries next year, pretty much. I'll probably put a piece of wood like this, probably all the way to the other end, and build a lifting top with a net on it, so that this whole thing can basically populate itself with strawberries. And I'll probably just elevate it a little bit so they have space to kind of grow up and not get to the net, because this thing land on the net, they'll probably be able to reach in and eat them. So I will elevate this a little bit more, most likely with wood, and that'll be my strawberry bed. I will try to leave a channel in the back for cucumbers, because this seems to be a good place for cucumbers, even though this year I didn't have good luck with them. And the cucamelons are still doing great. I picked about 7 pounds of cucamelons last week, and I pickled them. I will show that probably in another video. And as far as the cucumbers go, a lot of the plants are gone. I do still have a few that are sort of growing. Some of them seem to have another growth spur, but not all fruit is setting. There's still some setting. There's one here. I have like 4 or 5 cucumbers in the front. Still getting some cucumbers, but pretty bad overall. I did remove the netting from the raspberries and blackberries, and I'll need to think about what am I going to do next year, whether I'm going to put it back or not, because I don't know, it didn't seem to help much at the beginning of the season, to be honest, because the chipmunks were still able to get in, and now towards the end of the season, when they have their actually big crop, the second crop, the birds are not bothering them anymore. So I might just leave them like that. And these plants are just absolutely loaded with fruit compared to last year and compared to their first crop. You can just see here and in the back, and raspberries. We've been picking raspberries every day, a good handful. Alex loves them. And over here, if you remember, probably early in the season, I had 2 canes that were kind of bolting up super fast, and I was wondering what's going to happen with them. Well, this guy is growing up and across and all the way into that tree, and there's probably a few dozen flowers right in there at the tip of it, and then right on top of it is the second one. So they're way in that tree in the back, and I hate that tree, but they're just at least 10 feet tall, at least. So good job on these blackberries. Can't wait to have some more. And the raspberries over here, they're pretty they're doing pretty well. These are pretty good. We pick them every day. They're super sweet, nice and cool out, so they're cool, and just a great producer so far. As far as these 3 blueberry bushes here, I'm thinking of relocating them, probably in containers somewhere in the front, and dedicating this to blackberries and raspberries, because these seem to be low bush varieties. They don't really grow too tall, so they're always shaded by tomatoes at least, and they're just not doing well here. They'll probably do much better somewhere in the front, and these raspberries and blackberries, they seem to be growing tall, so they're doing fine. Plus, the raspberries and blackberries, they will probably have a better chance fighting that invasion from the back that I keep chopping every so often. Not too much luck with tomatoes this year, as you know. I still am picking tomatoes here and there, you know. Cherries are still there. Some of the big ones are ripening, but mostly cherries. They still seem to be growing. In fact, they're growing better now than they were probably a month ago. Still putting a lot of flowers and a lot of clusters of fruit, but the problem is it's getting very cold out. I think under 60 degrees at night, and that's probably not good for these tomatoes. They probably won't be growing very fast from this point on. And it's weird because it's still early September. Last year we had tomatoes until, I believe, almost December. So anyway, that's the story with the tomatoes. And let me show you a few other things here in the back. There's a little Concord grape here in the corner. Not too hot. It's growing. It's not dead, which is good, but it's being overtaken by, again, a lot of this growth here. So I really got to keep up with pruning all this crap around it so that it doesn't really die. So far, so good. I was expecting a little bit more growth, to be honest, but you know, I really don't know if it gets any sun at all. So, I mean, it's like 10:30 right now, and the whole garden is in complete shade. So, anyway, we'll see. The 2 strawberries and plants in a container that I planted here are, as expected, you know, going crazy and filling up the container, as you know. I picked a whole bunch of strawberries. They're still flowering. These are the absolutely best strawberries I've grown. Not I've grown many, but these are really doing well. They propagate, they keep flowering, they keep producing, they keep ripening pretty much all summer. So really happy with these. And the cherries, you know, end of the season for them, dropping leaves. We have plans for them to probably move them in the front and plant them into the ground. As we work on the front yard, we'll see how that works out and where we're going to plant them. And speaking of the front, not much has happened over here. The kiwi berries are growing just fine. What I did do is I took this row of topper stones and I continued it. Here are the new ones. I continued it all the way to the end of this terrace thing, and I put another post right there, and I kind of connected it to these stones. So I'm planning to continue this section all the way to here, so that I can plant a grape here. I want to plant a Reliance grapevine, which in theory will grow up and then across, and this whole section will be just for that one grape, and the kiwi berries can do their thing over there. But yeah, that's kind of the plan over here. We'll see if we're going to use toppers on this end as well, or some other end stone. I'm not decided yet, but that's sort of the idea, to isolate this bed like this all the way to the bottom and connect it to here, and just have grapes and kiwi berries and mulch on top. And did I say I like these strawberries? You know, I put this plant here sort of, you know, let me see if it makes it. I want to see how strong of a plant it is to survive. And this has been an amazing plant. I mean, yes, this has been an amazing plant too, but these strawberries are they're just not giving up. this was one plant, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you can count probably 4 in there, but there are at least half a dozen plants from this one plant, and oh, actually more. There's one here, there's one here, and they're growing just on top of the mulch. They're not doing anything, and they still have enough energy to produce nice strawberries. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Oh, by the way, you see this? This was picked by ants. Yep, the entire strawberry was eaten by ants, which is new to me. But you know, these are just great plants. The Lee strawberries, highly recommended. And as far as everything else over here, it's doing just fine. The cucamelon is growing like crazy. The blueberry bushes, they're kind of changing color, probably starting to drop their leaves. And that's about it. So this came out to be long again, as usual. I really need to work on that. But thanks for tuning in, and talk to you next time.